is actually part of a larger space, one that in a sense completes the smaller one. So in this case, the real numbers are the completion of the rationals. In the case of polynomials, its completion is the space of all continuous functions. The technical term that's used is to call these types of sequences Cauchy sequences. And if there exists a Cauchy sequence converging to something that is beyond the space, then the space is incomplete. But if you extend your space to include these limits, and now every Cauchy sequence has a limit that exists inside of it, you get a complete space. So a Hilbert space is a vector space that is complete. This naturally brings us to the second requirement for a Hilbert space, namely that it needs to have something called an inner product defined on it. A basic vector space has enough of a structure that allows for adding vectors and scaling them. But there's no notion of distance nor angles between vectors. This is a problem since, in order for the Hilbert space to be complete, we need to find Cauchy sequences and determine where they converge to, a process which requires having some concept of angles and distance at hand. In order to be able to measure these quantities, we need to add some additional structure to the vector space, an inner product, which is a function that satisfies these criteria for any vectors u, v, w in the vector space and numbers a and b that you're scaling vectors with. Essentially, this is just a generalized dot product. It is a way to capture the lengths of vectors as well as the angles between them for a general vector space. In fact, in the case of the familiar 2D plane or 3D